Tonight, as we come on the air, we're following several breaking stories, including the murder of director Rob Reiner and his wife. Their son now under arrest in connection with the killings. The 32-year-old in jail after the couple was found apparently stabbed to death in their L.A. home. What we're learning about what happened at a Hollywood party the night before, and the son's battle with addiction as tributes pour in for the directing great behind The Princess Bride, A Few Good Men, and so many more. Also tonight, new images of the person of interest in the Brown University shooting. 48 hours after 2 college students were killed, the gunman is still on the loose. The mayor of Providence joins us live with an update on the manhunt. Horror on Bondi Beach, gunmen targeting a Hanukkah celebration in Sydney, Australia. A hero bystander rushing in to disarm one of the shooters. What we're learning about the victims, including a Holocaust survivor who shielded his wife when bullets rang out. Terror plot takedown, the FBI sharing video allegedly showing a group of testing explosives in the desert, what they're accused of planning on New Year's Eve. Rescued at sea, a fisherman stranded dozens of miles from the coast after his boat caught on fire, how he survived until help arrived. And back in the game, Colts quarterback Phillip Rivers pulling off one of the best performances of his career just days after coming out of retirement. His incredible support team off the field pushing him to achieve greatness. Plus, the levee failure emergency, thousands in Seattle suburbs told to get out now. Our reporter at the scene. Top story starts right now. And good evening. We begin tonight with the shocking deaths of Hollywood legend Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. The couple's son, now in custody, arrested on suspicion of murder. Police say Rob, 78, and Michelle, 68, were found dead in their L.A. home on Sunday afternoon. A source close to the family says the couple was fatally stabbed inside this Brentwood residence. The gruesome discovery stunning Hollywood and the world. Then, in a disturbing turn in the investigation, police arresting their 32-year-old son, Nick Reiner, holding him on suspicion of murder. And tonight we're learning more about a fight he had with his parents at a Hollywood Christmas party the night before. Reiner leaving behind a towering legacy. You see it here in TV and film. He got his start as an actor on the sitcom All in the Family before going on to direct modern-day classics, including This Is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, and When Harry Met Sally, plus A Few Good Men. Fans laying flowers on his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, an emotional tribute pouring in from family, friends, and those who worked with Reiner over the years. Misery star Kathy Bates calling Reiner brilliant and kind. Paul McCartney adding life can be so unfair, and this tragedy proves it. Reba McEntire, who worked with Reiner on his movie North, saying he was one of a kind. The investigation into their senseless death still very much underway. Morgan Chesky has been following it all and leads us off from Los Angeles.
Tonight, police say the person responsible for the brutal murders of Hollywood icon Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle is their very own son.
They worked throughout the night on this case and were able to take into custody Nick Reiner, a suspect in this case.
The 32-year-old arrested at 9:15 last night, according to police, less than 6 hours after the disturbing discovery of the couple's bodies inside their Brentwood home.
Verifying we have 2 cardiac arrests.
A source close to the family telling NBC News both appear to suffer fatal stab wounds. Nick had been living with his parents on and off, according to 2 sources with knowledge of the situation, who say the 3 attended a party thrown by Conan O'Brien on Saturday night. Those sources tell us Nick was disruptive and made guests feel uncomfortable, adding that Rob and Michelle were embarrassed by his behavior and even expressed worries about his health.
All I ever wanted was a way to kill the noise.
In 2015, the father and son teamed up on the movie Being Charlie, a film based on Nick's own struggles with drugs.
It's not a secret, but my son, Nick, who was one of the writers of the screenplay, had his problems with substance abuse, and he went through a number of rehab programs.
The Reiners and their 3 children together recently, photographed on a red carpet in September. That's Nick in the middle. Reiner, the son of legendary comedian Carl Reiner, first gained fame as Archie Bunker's son-in-law on All in the Family.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Stivic. You are a meathead.
Then pivoting to film, writing and directing beloved movies, spanning genres.
No, don't touch it.
I was just pointing at it.
Well, don't point.
From The Princess Bride.
Life is pain, Highness.
Anyone who says differently is selling something.
To redefining rom-coms with When Harry Met Sally.
Ooh. Yes! Yes! Yes!
Where Reiner gave his own mom a famous cameo.
I'll have what she's having.
He told stories about friendship and loss.
I'll see you. Not if I see you first.
And perfected the courtroom drama with A Few Good Men.
Answers. I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Today, Kevin Bacon remembering his time with Reiner on that set.
The making of that movie was one of the best experiences that I've ever had.
While Jane Fonda said she just saw the couple Saturday night, calling them wonderful, caring, smart, funny, generous people.
Morgan Chesky joins us tonight from that scene in Brentwood. So, Morgan, when could Nick Reiner be charged?
Yeah, Tom, the short answer is soon. After staying here on the scene out Reiner's home all night long, we know detectives now plan to present their findings and evidence to prosecutors tomorrow, with formal charges against Reiner anticipated on Wednesday. In the meantime, the 32-year-old son of that Hollywood icon remains behind bars tonight, being held without bail. Tom?
Morgan Chesky for us. Morgan, thank you. I want to bring in NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas. Chloe, I know you have some new reporting, and you can tell us more about this party that apparently occurred before the stabbing took place. What exactly happened there? Because some people think this may have set off a chain of events.
Tom, that's right. So Conan O'Brien hosts this really glitzy party every year. And this year, Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, they brought their son Nick with them. And two sources who were at the event, they said that Rob Reiner introduced Nick to several celebrities, and that throughout the evening he was acting strange and he was going up to different celebrities and interrupting conversations. And one of those conversations, Tom, that he interrupted was that of comedian and writer and star Bill Hader. And Bill Hader had been introduced to Nick earlier in the evening, and a source tells us that he walked up, interrupted this conversation, and that Bill Hader gently asked him to leave and said, this is a private conversation, and that Nick continued to stand there and stare and not leave, and that finally he did, and he stormed off, which is what the sources told NBC News, and that along with other behaviors of his at the party that were off and odd, caused a fight between him and his parents, and that spilled over after the party and into the following day, where his parents were very concerned about his overall mental health. And so, you know, Tom, this is a conversation, as you just saw in Morgan Chesky's piece, that his parents had been having very openly with him after they did the movie Being Charlie, about their tumultuous relationship with their son and his years-long battle with heroin, homelessness, and being in and out of drug treatment facilities over the years.
All right, Chloe Malas for us. Chloe, we thank you for joining the broadcast tonight. Now to that manhunt still underway near Brown University. Authorities tonight releasing new video of a person of interest 48 hours after a shooting that left 2 students dead and wounded 9 others. NBC's Aaron McLaughlin has more on that urgent search.
Tonight in Providence, Rhode Island, police released this surveillance footage showing a person of interest, face covered by a mask, walking in the area of Brown University 2 hours before a gunman opened fire on a group of students preparing for finals, killing 2 and wounding 9.
He rounded this street corner and walked down that way. Over there, you can see the building where the shooting took place. This area is surrounded by cameras, but it's unclear where he went next.
The man's identity unknown.
The FBI is now offering a reward of $50,000.
Tonight, authorities appealed to the public for help, offering new details about the weapon.
The 9mm firearm was used.
Today, authorities combed the streets surrounding the university for evidence. The FBI, dressed in hazmat suits, searched this trash can and scoured the perimeter of the Brown University building as students recalled the horror of that day. Brown University junior Amit Chintalapati says he rushed to help his friend who'd been shot in his abdomen.
He kept saying, like, I just got shot. And I was just trying to keep him talking and not, like, drifting off.
As the Brown community mourns the lives lost, 18-year-old Mohammed Aziz Emirzakov and 19-year-old Ella Cook.
She was an incredible, grounded, faithful, bright light.
All this after law enforcement announced they'd released the individual they once believed could have been connected to the shooting.
How confident are you that you have the suspect?
I'm pretty confident.
But by late Sunday evening, they'd let him go.
I think effectively he has been ruled out.
Peter Nerona is the Attorney General for Rhode Island.
When you say effectively ruled out?
Yeah, look, in my mind, this person is not someone that committed this crime.
Aaron McLaughlin joins us tonight from the campus of Brown University. So, Aaron, there's still a killer on the loose out there. How's the community there in Providence?
Well, community members are extremely concerned about the security situation, Tom, and it's clear that school authorities are taking no chances, despite the mayor saying there's no specific threat at this time. Schools in the area are either on remote or they're closed. And if schools are open after school activities have been canceled, we are hearing of a vigil to remember the victims scheduled for tomorrow night. But the flyer making it very clear that police will also be present. Tom.
Okay, Aaron McLaughlin, we thank you. For more on this developing case, we are joined tonight here on Top Story by the mayor of Providence, Rhode Island, Brett Smiley, and Providence Chief of Police, Colonel Oscar Perez. I thank you both for joining the broadcast. I know you guys are both incredibly busy trying to find this killer. Colonel Perez, I'm going to start with you. This investigation now topping about 50 hours. But up until a few hours ago, we just had one image of a person of interest. Why is this investigation taking so long, and why is it so difficult for your brave men and women there in the police department?
Yeah, thank you. Sometimes, obviously, as I said it, as a seasoned investigator, almost 32 years, and I speak for the members of law enforcement. When you investigate something, it takes different directions. And you have to understand that sometimes tunnel vision kicks in. Sometimes you have to make sure that you examine evidence, you take the information, and you move on. And so it's been now 50 hours. But I'll tell you that the best thing that we have here in the police department is that we have some dedicated detectives, and we're collaborating with so many different agencies, including federal agencies, municipalities, and obviously we're going to be able to continue to gather more evidence to be able to identify and hold this person accountable.
Colonel Perez, do you have any idea who this killer is?
Yes, that's something that we're investigating. We're going to continue to build on. I'll tell you that what's great about this state and about this city is that we are very united. We have many partners, and we really care. We're proud of this city, this great city. And so I'm hoping that based on the images, the videos that we just released, that someone is going to be able to identify this individual.
Mayor, you know, we heard Aaron there say that you told the community you don't think there are other threats. Do you know that for certain?
I know that we have not received any credible, specific, or actionable threats since 4 o'clock on Saturday when this tragedy occurred. Anything related to this incident, we've not received a single credible threat. That is true. And so it's Monday afternoon now, Monday evening. We wanted kids to go to school today. They did so safely. Individuals have to go to work. Families have responsibilities that they need to tend to. And so we have really flooded the neighborhood and the city with additional law enforcement resources just to provide a stronger sense of safety and some reassurance to understandably anxious neighbors.
Colonel Perez, in the last few hours, your department and the FBI have released lots of videos and images of this person of interest in the surrounding neighborhood. You see them here on your screen. We're going to play it here in a moment. But nothing from on campus or inside that Brown Engineering and Physics building where the shooting took place. Why is that exactly?
So we're very limited on the evidence that we've been able to seize from the university itself. And so we've been now, obviously, as you saw in the images that you showed, is that we've had the old tactics of police and just detectives on foot and collecting evidence. But we've been very limited on the evidence that we've been able to seize from inside the university.
Colonel Perez, you know, do you think the killer knew that building didn't have enough surveillance cameras?
So we're not sure of that, but I'll tell you that we're going to continue to investigate. And those are the same questions that we have as far as how much he knew, the intentions, and why did he pick this specific classroom. But those are unanswered questions, but we're hoping that we'll continue to develop evidence to get those answers.
Mayor, when a horrific crime like this happens to a community, it's terrible, right? You can never really plan for something like this because these killers find different methods. They use different disguises. That being said, was your city, is this department, were they prepared enough for something like this?
I believe we were as prepared as we could be. You're right. There's no substitute, and we certainly hoped that we would never find ourselves in this situation. But with acts of violence like this occurring around the country, the responsible thing is to prepare as if it could happen in your community. And so we have trained for this. About 18 months ago, we did a full-scale active shooter drill in one of our schools. The coordination and collaboration between the departments that the colonel keeps talking about is going well because they train for that regularly. As recently as 6 months ago, there was a joint operation between Brown PD and Providence PD. This is a well-trained and equipped department, but also all of us in city government. I've been heartened by the support and the outreach that I've received from my fellow mayors around the country. But one of the just depressing facts is I've received dozens of texts from other mayors saying, I've been through this. We're here for you. Call us if you need help or advice. Sadly, this happens far too frequently. But in this moment, what that means is that there are people wanting to help our community.
Yeah.
We are accepting that help with open arms, and we're grateful for it.
On that point, there have been so many school shootings, even on college campuses. This is Brown University, an Ivy League school, one of the greatest schools in the country. How was somebody able to access that building and kill 2 students, injure 9 others in this day and age?
So, Brown University is a little bit unique from other universities, and it's something that I think is beautiful, which is it's an open campus integrated with the neighborhood. This is not a school that has a wall around it or a fence around it. And honestly, I hope they don't go to that in the future. It's part of what helps Brown be such a rich and important partner to us. Neighbors walk their dog through campus, and I hope that can continue, and I think that it will. As was reported by Brown Provost Frank Doyle on the first day, because while it was a Saturday, it was during the final exam period, and so there were 2 final exams taking place. The shooting occurred in a room where there was a study session taking place. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and so the exterior doors were unlocked, and that would have been typical on campus. That wasn't a failure of protocol or anything like that.
Colonel, you hear this, and you've seen school shootings all across the country, and sometimes they're kindergartens, sometimes they're universities. I mean, was that too soft of a target for this guy?
Well, I mean, when you look at it, it's like the mayor stated, it's just it's a historic area of our city. Like you stated, Brown is a great school. Unfortunately, this occurred, and it's unexpected. I mean, many times you have places that are pretty secure, and as you stated, Florida, Virginia, and same incidents have occurred. And so you just, I feel that at the end of the day, it's just a violent criminal that decided to pick this location for whatever reason, and it's very unfortunate. But I think that, it's something that we have to look at as far as here. So,
Colonel Perez, what's your message to that killer tonight who's still out there?
That I'll tell you that we have some dedicated professional officers in the city that we're collaborating, and that we can't wait to put handcuffs on that person. And if he's watching, that he needs to realize what he did and come forward and turn himself in.
Mayor Smiley, Colonel Perez, I'm sorry your city is going through this right now, and I hope you find that killer at some point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now to that deadly anti-Semitic terror attack over in Australia. Officials say a father and son targeted a Hanukkah celebration on the famed Bondi Beach. And tonight we're learning new details on the bystander who bravely stepped in, taking down one of the attackers. Sarah James has that report.
Tonight, new video showing the horror on Australia's iconic Bondi Beach. You can hear the shots, people running for their lives as police say 2 terrorists unleashed an anti-Semitic rampage. Video showing one of the gunmen opening fire from a bridge. And what did you see?
It looked like a war zone, honestly. It was like, blood everywhere.
Police say the gunmen were targeting the Jewish community holding a Hanukkah celebration Sunday night. One of the suspects seen here firing on the crowd when, incredibly, he's tackled by a bystander who wrestles his gun away, then points it at the attacker, who runs off. That bystander, Ahmed Al-Ahmed, now recovering from gunshots and being hailed for his courage.
Is a genuine hero. And I've got no doubt that there are many, many people alive tonight as a result of his bravery.
At least 15 people's lives were stolen in the terror attack, including a rabbi, a Holocaust survivor who was killed shielding his wife, and a 10-year-old girl. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation citing police naming the suspects as Sajid Akram and his son Naveed, who authorities say was previously investigated by Australia's domestic intelligence.
Extreme perversion of Islam that has resulted in these catastrophic consequences, and my heart goes out to the grieving families tonight.
But it comes after a growing number of recent disturbing anti-Semitic attacks in Australia, including a Melbourne synagogue firebombed, a Jewish deli set ablaze, Jewish homes vandalized, and cars burned. Jewish residents say the government has ignored warning signs.
We've seen fire bombings, we've seen every manner of exclusion.
Sarah joins us now live from Sydney. Sarah, thanks for being here. I know you're joining us from in front of that growing memorial, and one of the gunmen was killed, we know, but the other is in custody in the hospital?
That's exactly right, Tom, and charges are expected soon. But as that goes on, the government is trying to grapple with exactly what they can do to protect the safety of the Jewish community, this rich, robust Jewish community here in Australia. The Deputy Prime Minister, Richard Marles, was here just about an hour ago. He was meeting with Jewish leaders, a long conversation with them, listening to their anxiety about their safety of going around this really iconic place here in Australia. Now, the Deputy Prime Minister told me, Tom, that a lot of work is going to be done to strengthen the gun laws here. Many people know that the gun laws in Australia are already among the strictest in the world. They're about to get even tougher because some want to know, how is it that one person could own multiple firearms when they're here in a city? So will that be changed? That's one of the things the government is looking at. Also, potentially more background checks, the Deputy Prime Minister told me. But you could tell that he seemed quite shattered by what he was seeing, what he was hearing, visibly moved. The Jewish community, people who have spoken to me, say they feel a real sense of anxiety. And they want to know that not only are there going to be maybe stricter gun laws, but that in addition, other things will be done to stop the spread of anti-Semitism and to make that community and the entire Australian community the multicultural place that it has been and a safer place for everyone to live. Tom?
Okay, we thank you for that. A dangerous situation back here at home unfolding in the Pacific Northwest, which has been battered by storms for weeks. Authorities urging thousands of residents to evacuate a Seattle suburb. After a levee near the Green River failed, drone video shows water seeping through that breach. I want to bring in NBC's Steve Patterson, who's out at the scene, and NBC News meteorologist Bill Karen. Steve, let's start with you. Talk to me about what you're seeing out there and how bad the flooding's been.
Thankfully, not catastrophic so far based on what we're seeing right now. But officials, of course, not worried about necessarily what happens right now. They've got a flash flood warning in effect for at least the next 5-6 hours or so. Thankfully, we've heard from the governor. You've seen some of the images. The breach isn't incredibly large, and they've had officials working on it really from minute one. But officials are more worried about, again, what happens to the rest of the river. We're on top of the Green River right now. You may be able to see behind me how swollen it's become. This is just over the last few hours or so. And when this happened, this levee breach in Tukwila, where we're in about 3.5 miles or so from where we're standing right now, it released what's called a go now warning for about 6,000 people. It means you don't pack your bags. It means you don't wait. It means you get the higher ground as soon as possible. Officials are worried because of how stressed the overall system is, right? We had those series of atmospheric rivers last week. We're expecting more this week. I'm afraid of what Bill Cairns is about to say, but the ground already saturated. The levees already consistently near breaking. And when we had one today, I think it triggered a lot of warning and officials who've now alerted the National Guard in town, in effect, in case anything happens. It's a serious situation.
All right, Steve. Stay safe out there. Bill, we're going to get over to you now. How much more rain is on the way?
Some areas could get up to maybe 6 to 10 inches of rain. And this is on top of, going into those rivers that you saw behind Steve there. So we had one batch of heavy rain today. We get a little break tonight. And then tomorrow, another batch, especially in the evening, comes in. We have flood watches up from Portland to Eugene all the way through the Seattle area. A little space here in Montana and Idaho also. We are projecting that the river, the Skagit River, that was the one we were following all last week with the record flooding. Major flooding is going to return once again. So here people are trying to clean up and, start their lives over. over again in some cases, and then they have to worry about the river all over again. So again, 1 to 8 inches is anywhere from Seattle southwards, and it's not just going to be the rain. We're going to have snow at the high elevations. We could have high winds and trees coming down because the soil's loose, landslides also, and this is the rainfall totals expected over the next 5 days. So in the mountains, we get the higher totals. Seattle itself around 1 or 2 inches, but none of this is really heading to the east either, Tom. This is going to be a West Coast problem all week.
Okay, Bill, we thank you for that. We're back in a moment with the major verdict today in a high-profile murder case. Brian Walsh, accused of killing his wife and dismembering her body, what the jury decided. Plus, an alleged plot to carry out bombing attacks on New Year's Eve foiled by the feds, how authorities say they were preparing out in the desert. We're back now with the verdict in a closely watched murder trial. A Massachusetts jury finding Brian Walsh guilty of killing his wife, Anna. Stephanie Gosk has the details.
What say the jury?
Tonight, the verdict is in.
Guilty. Guilty of what, sir? Murder in the first degree.
A Massachusetts jury says Brian Walsh killed his wife, Anna, the mother of their 3 children.
Anna Walsh is dead because he murdered her.
Walsh was motivated by jealousy and money, according to the prosecution, alleging the 50-year-old wanted to cash in a $2.7 million life insurance policy. Before the trial began, Walsh pleaded guilty to dismembering his wife's body and deceiving police, but denied being responsible for her death.
You have a sudden and unexpected event that results in confusion, and panic, and fear.
The trial lasted nearly 2 weeks, with shocking testimony about Walsh's internet searches.
How to dismember a body, Google search. Hacksaw, the best tool for dismembering a body, Google search. Disposing of a body in the trash, Google search.
Prosecutors also presenting this video of Walsh shopping for supplies, including mops, buckets, and a hatchet, after he told police his wife had gone to D.C.
He cut up Anna's body, the woman that he claimed to love, and he threw her into dumpsters.
Okay, Stephanie Goss joins us. Stephanie, this is a tough one. What do we expect at Wednesday's sentencing?
So, Tom, by Massachusetts law, there is a mandated life sentence without parole, but we're also going to hear victim impact statements. And we heard from the district attorney today that Anna Walsh's sister reached out to him after the verdict and said that justice had been done. We may hear from her on Wednesday as well.
Okay, Stephanie Goss, good to have you here. Still ahead on top story, the U.S. Army identifying the 2 National Guard troops killed in Syria, what we know. Plus another NFL star robbed, the latest in a string of high-profile break-ins targeting athletes and celebrities who are out of town. We're back now with an alleged terror plot thwarted. Authorities arresting 4 people in connection with a plan to set off bombs in Los Angeles on New Year's Eve. NBC's Liz Kreutz reports.
In this video footage taken by an FBI surveillance plane over the desert outside Los Angeles, you can see the moments just before law enforcement raided a group they say were testing explosives in preparation for an alleged New Year's Eve attack targeting 5 locations across Southern California.
The subject arrested envisioned planting backpacks with improvised explosive devices. These bombs were to blow up at the same time on midnight this New Year's Eve.
The FBI releasing these marked up images of the 4 people they've arrested, ranging in age from 24 to 41. Officials did not provide a motive, but said they're part of a radical faction of a far-left group called the Turtle Island Liberation Front,
which, according to their own social media, is an anti-capitalist, anti-government movement that calls for their associates to rise up and fight back against capitalism.
In the complaint, investigators say they obtained an 8-page handwritten document dubbed Operation Midnight Sun, detailing the group's alleged plan to target 2 U.S. companies, along with step-by-step instructions on how to make the explosives. Authorities have not named the companies, but described them as Amazon-type logistics centers.
Thankfully, that plot has now been foiled.
Law enforcement moved in on the group Friday in the Mojave Desert, releasing these pictures showing some of their bomb-making materials. According to the complaint, one of the group's leaders told another member what we're doing will be considered a terrorist act, while noting that if they saw any people, such as a security guard at any of the locations, they would warn them. And those 4 people are expected to appear in court today facing conspiracy charges. NBC News has reached out to the group, but we've not heard back. Tom.
All right, Liz Kreutz, thank you. Now to the manhunt still underway tonight for the Brown University shooter we told you about at the top of the broadcast. Late today, police releasing this surveillance video showing who they say is a person of interest walking through the Providence neighborhood next to the campus. As investigators comb through the campus and that neighborhood in hazmat suits looking for any clues the shooter may have left behind. Joining us tonight for more is retired NYPD Captain John Monahan, who has decades of experience working on cases like this one and a good friend to Top Story. So, Captain Monahan, I want to start with those images that were released by the FBI and the Providence Police Department. They're calling this person the suspect a person of interest right now. And you can tell he's wearing a mask as we put this image up here. What can you sort of glean from what you've seen so far?
He used a handgun. There were some conflicting reports. Was it a handgun, a long gun? I'm pretty sure it was a handgun for a couple of reasons. I believe he's carrying it in the right side of his body as well. If you look closely here, this jacket is kind of loose and not bulky, but it's heavy and it's bulked here on the right side. In another video, the first one that came out, as he turns that corner, from Hope Street to Watertown, one arm, back in the days of anti-crime, when we were looking for guys with guns, one of the telltale signs, you know, when your body walks, arms and legs are opposite. You're holding a gun, you tend to keep one arm stiff. And you watch this man in a couple of those videos, his right arm stays in by his body as his left arm is moving. I believe he's got a handgun right in here.
You think he's on the heavier side, or do you think he's wearing some kind of Kevlar, some kind of...
He may be. Maybe he was
bulletproof
prepared
vest,
for return fire. Yeah, could have been.
What about this walking around the neighborhood, kind of surveilling, doing the laps, right next to the campus where the shooting took place?
He was targeting that class. Yeah. I got to think he's targeting that, but he was waiting for it to start, do something about that class. That he was interested in.
So the shootings happen right here, and this is all the spots where he's seen.
And this is 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And this is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Or this is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This doesn't happen until 4. This is very odd.
What does that tell you? What can it tell you? He
was waiting for that class to start. The room had 50 or 60 kids in it.
Study hall, yeah.
I believe that's what he was doing. You know, it makes me think. You've got 50 or 60 students. Tom, we've been to review classes at college before a big exam. It would, you know, when you asked the chief or the mayor about video from inside the school, the answer wasn't really that declarative. Have you ever been to a review session the day before a big exam and someone wasn't taping it? You know, there's eyewitnesses and ear witnesses, at least an audio recording from inside that room. I'd be shocked if have all 50 or 60 kids been interviewed separately, individually by a detective, to get each of their take on what they saw and heard. I'd say that he was here for 2 hours. Wandering around the neighborhood, he was zeroing in on that particular class.
We saw, you know, just police and FBI agents all over this area, going through the snow, going through the trash, on top of roofs as well, going through snow on roofs. I mean, do you think they have something here, or are they just trying to search everything?
They're just trying to search everything. He's got the gun on him. In that last video, there's a still photo of it there that we were just looking at. You see his right arm in close. This one, his arms are swinging, but he's very bulky in the middle here. It's not clear. But this is odd behavior. The hands behind the back. He's just strolling around for 2 hours.
Yeah.
This one. See, the right arm is stiff. Watch the left arm. It starts
to swing,
and it continues all the way up the block.
Does it bother you that it took this long to release this video?
This was out yesterday, though.
No, the new video.
The new ones just came out. I'll tell you what, Tom. There's a lot that hasn't come out. How many shots were fired? What kind of gun? They would know that within an hour. There's no reason to withhold it. One kid's talking about a rifle. Listen, I had a guy pull a gun on me one day, and I told the emergency service, we're looking for a sawed-off shotgun because it looks so big. In that moment, it's hard to judge. How many shots were fired? What type of weapon was he using? We could have used all that information right up front. There's a lot. I mean, listen, he turned east away from downtown Providence. There's not much out there but the water.
They mentioned the cell phone records with the first guy that they got, and then they released. They were clearly wrong. Does that give you any sort of issue to kind of pause and say, oh, maybe they don't know what they're doing right now?
Oh, I wouldn't say that. They're trying very hard there. Let's not do that. But, I mean...
I meant in the sense that I know what they're doing, but maybe they don't have the person.
Well, right, they didn't have the person. That was a tip. Some guy called up and said, I know a guy with a 9mm with a, laser finder on top. Listen, let me just say this one last thing. Rhode Island is known as the Ocean State. Within a mile of where he was last seen is 5 different boat docks. I would check the videos for the waterways. You never know. I had a guy take off from the middle of 125th Street on a boat.
Okay.
You just never know. He was walking east away from downtown. There's no public transportation out there. Maybe he had a car. The interstate is over there, too.
Right.
But he's probably long gone.
Okay, John, we'll stay on this as we get more info. I'm sure we'll talk to you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Tom.
Now to Top Stories news feed, and we start with the U.S. Army identifying the 2 Iowa National Guard troops killed in the attack over the weekend in Syria. 25-year-old Sergeant Edgar Brian Torres Tovar and 29-year-old Sergeant William Nathaniel Howard. Pentagon officials say they were on a counterterrorism mission when they were ambushed. President Trump now saying there will be very serious retaliation. And another break-in at a pro athlete's home, this time thieves targeting Tennessee Titans star defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons. He posted this security footage appearing to show masked burglars entering his house last night while he was playing in San Francisco. Police say at least 6 people broke in after smashing windows. The Titans say they're now working with investigators to recover the items that were stolen. The Coast Guard rescuing a boater after their commercial fishing vessel caught fire. Look at this. It happened yesterday off the coast of Florida. You can see smoke just billowing there from the boat. The helicopter crew sending a rescue swimmer to the boater who was floating on a nearby life raft. Coast Guard officials say they're doing okay and that the cause of the fire is still under investigation. While the Colts didn't get their fairy tale win this weekend, you wouldn't know it by the reaction at this high school. The students that Philip Rivers coached there thrilled to see his return to the field. NBC's Sam Brock had a chance to talk to some of them today.
The cheers from the St. Michael Catholic football team could hardly be contained by the walls when the Alabama players watched their 44-year-old coach, Philip Rivers, reemerge from NFL retirement, throwing a touchdown strike in Sunday's game against the Seahawks, his first NFL game in 1,800 days. Also, a last-second loss.
We'll fight like crazy until they tell us the season's over. And so you can guarantee that for the next 3 weeks.
One of the most revered quarterbacks this century, Rivers has been coaching the Cardinals since 2021, but ended a 4-year NFL hiatus and signed with the Indianapolis Colts practice squad last Wednesday after the team's starting quarterback Daniel Jones tore his ACL. The buzz back home among players was immediate.
We've always heard rumors, but by the 5th year, it's not really a possibility anymore, and he's a grandfather now.
Running back Noah Moss thought there was too much smoke, though, for a man known for his fiery demeanor.
He's pretty much the same person in our games as he is in any video or compilation you've seen on YouTube. He's a competitor.
So he went straight to the source, Rivers' son, Gunner, the team's quarterback and one of the nation's top recruits.
I FaceTimed Gunner, and he was in the shower, and he told me.
All of it leading to a surprising Hail Mary situation where the father of 10 ultimately did make his way back to the football field. Rivers, who becomes one of only a half dozen NFL quarterbacks ever to play at the age of 44, including Tom Brady, has reshaped football in his hometown.
What kind of transformation have the Cardinals experienced under Coach Rivers?
Not only is transformed in terms of how well we're playing, but just the whole program kind of having our own sense of pride now for the games.
Rivers and his wife, Tiffany, have children ranging from 2 to 23 years old, middle school sweethearts who welcomed their first grandchild earlier this year. But this grandpa relishing in each moment, even the hard-hitting ones.
There's been times in the last 3 or 4 years I said, I kind of wish I could just throw one and get hit hard.
Now the stage is set for a 49ers matchup next week. And these players are his biggest supporters, historic touchdowns or not.
It sounded like somebody had just hit a buzzer beater in a packed basketball arena. We were all so excited. Everybody was jumping up and down.
Sam Brock joins us now in studio. Sam, let's go back to Philip Rivers, the NFL quarterback, not the coach. So what more can he do? I mean, will he play in the next game on Sunday? Is that pretty much it? The Colts don't have a great chance for the playoffs?
He is confirmed for the next game against the San Francisco 49ers. Right now, Tom, the Colts have a 10% chance of making the playoffs. If the season ended today, they would not. They have to leapfrog a few teams. But as you said, he's Philip Rivers. He's a legend. This guy, according to his players, is so fiery. He's at least as fiery as the other players that are on opposing teams. He has apparently a clipboard with a spreadsheet of all of the referees' names on it, and he has their first names. And if he gets mad at them, he calls them by their first names.
Yeah.
He's snapping headsets. He does all the things we saw him do as a player, only in high school coach form.
Yeah, it's so great. It's incredible. It's been a season of injuries in the NFL, and the Chiefs just had a very big one on Sunday. It looks like they're done in the playoffs as well.
Patrick Mahomes, who is trying to become as great as Tom Brady or greater. He already has 3 Super Bowls. The team has made 10 consecutive playoffs until this year. He has a torn ACL. That is devastating for the NFL. It's devastating for Mahomes. He will bounce back. Micah Parsons, who was one of the best defensive players in the NFL on the Packers. Packers considered a Super Bowl contender this year. He's out for the season with an ACL tear. This was one of the absolute worst weekends for injuries we've seen probably the entire season.
Yeah, not connected. I also hurt my ACL. Not an NFL game.
You'd probably take the field anyway as a quarterback.
I would take it. I would love to. Sam, good seeing you, man.
Thanks.
Coming up on Top Stories, Steve Kornacki is in the house to break down the latest NBC News poll, how President Trump is doing in the eyes of his own base. You might be surprised. Plus, we hear from a rabbi in Texas whose brother was shot in that horrific massacre at Bondi Beach. His message amid the rise of anti-Semitism here in the U.S. and over there in Australia as well. That's next. We're back now with the latest developments in the deadly shooting at a Hanukkah celebration at Australia's famed Bondi Beach. Horrifying scenes unfolding on Sunday. This is what it looked like. People running for their lives as a barrage of gunfire rang out. Officials say the attack carried out by two gunmen was, quote, designed to target Jewish people. At least 15 lives cut short, including two rabbis, a Holocaust survivor who shielded his wife from the bullets, and a 10-year-old out enjoying the festivities with her family. The shooting sending shockwaves around the world. Right now, security is being ramped up at synagogues and other buildings, including here in New York City and really across the country. It comes as Australia sees a disturbing rise in anti-Semitic attacks in recent years. You see the numbers here. At this hour, dozens of people are hospitalized, including Rabbi Label Lazaroff, who recently moved to Sydney and helped organize Sunday's event. He was shot in the leg and the abdomen. Joining us tonight here on Top Story is Label's brother, Rabbi Menachem Lazaroff, who is also the educational director and campus rabbi at Texas A&M alongside their father. Rabbi, I am sorry for what your family is going through tonight. How is your brother doing?
Well, thank you for that. My brother is in the ICU. He's stable. The doctors are, optimistic, but he was hit in the abdomen, in the leg. He's had multiple surgeries. He's going to need another one. And he's got, liver damage, rib damage. It's really quite scary.
I know you have grown up in a world where it may feel like you're a target because of your religion and everything that has happened over the last 2 years as well to Jews, not only in Israel, but all over the world. When this happened, though, I still have to think it is so hard to comprehend and understand.
Yeah, a lot of mixed feelings. It really, obviously, we're thankful he's alive. Miraculous. Thank God for that. But it's it boggles the mind how someone could have, so much hate to do something where, people are just out there being proud of their Judaism, celebrating Hanukkah. And, it's really quite shocking. And, of course, there's a personal feelings, the tragedy of Rabbi Schlinger, who was killed, and then, and all the other people that lost their lives there, and other people that were murdered.
One of the issues, one of the things we've seen with this mass shooting is that there was so much video actually shot, and you can see just the terror on people's faces and what happened, and also just the cold-blooded killings that were happening as well with the shooters. Have you been able to speak to your brother? Has anyone been able to communicate with your brother about what happened to him and what he saw?
No, so we don't know anything about that yet. My parents are still on their way there. They're on a plane to Sydney now. He's intubated. He's asleep. He has been, as far as I know, since he got to the hospital. So I haven't had any contact with him. I don't know what he knows, what he doesn't know. It's definitely a lot.
It's the beginning of Hanukkah. What are you hearing from your own community during what is supposed to be a time of celebration?
So, just an outpouring of love and support, which is, of course, very appreciated, and a resolve. Hanukkah is all about, lighting the menorah, spreading that light around us. And, terrorists always want us to be despondent and to cower down, but we don't. We respond with light. We're proud of who we are. We're going to light that menorah tonight. We're going to light that menorah tomorrow night and throughout all the 8 nights of Hanukkah. And, it's just a beautiful holiday, and let's celebrate who we are as Jews.
When you heard about this attack and you were seeing the images coming in, were you looking to see if you could even find your brother? I understand he was one of the organizers, but did you know that he was actually going to be there as well?
So I knew he was going to be there, and there was, there were moments where, we didn't know, whether he was okay, whether he was alive, where he was. I got woken up in the middle of the night by someone knocking on my window just to let me know, so I don't find out from my phone. And that was, of course, a crazy experience.
Yeah. As you pray with your community and you pray with your family, talk to us about what those prayers are asking for right now.
So I think the blessing we say when we light the menorah sums it up best, thanking God for the miracles that he done for our fathers in those days, now. And, just pray for miracles, pray for healing, and, just to add more light in the world. I think it's so important, throughout all our local communities, to spread the light of Hanukkah, spread the light of morality and moral courage. I think it's super important in society.
Rabbi Menachem, we thank you for joining Top Story tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now to Top Story's Global Watch, starting with a landslide presidential election victory in Chile, setting the stage for the country's most right-wing government in decades. The ultra-conservative former lawmaker, Jose Antonio Cast, winning almost 60% of the votes. Chileans appearing to overwhelmingly embrace his promise to fight crime, deport immigrants without legal status, and boost the economy. And in Hong Kong today, a prominent pro-democracy activist and media mogul was just convicted on all charges in a landmark national security trial. Jimmy Lai pleaded not guilty to charges of sedition and colluding with foreign forces. His case has become a symbol of Beijing's crackdown on dissent in the Chinese territory. Lai is now facing life in prison and is set to be sentenced at a later date. And Ukraine's military releasing dramatic new video appearing to show a first-of-its-kind strike on a Russian submarine. Here you can see the massive explosion at the port. Ukrainian forces say it's the first time they've used underwater sea drones to carry out an attack, but Moscow denies it caused any damage. This all comes as U.S. and Ukrainian officials are in Berlin for another round of peace talks aimed at ending Russia's war. Back here at home to President Trump's report card, a new NBC News poll finding the president's MAGA base is still behind him, but cracks are starting to show. Here to break it down, the one and only Steve Kornacki. Steve, great to see you on this Monday night. So walk us through this, the end of the year, not so great for President Trump and Republicans?
Yeah, it sort of ticked downward, Trump's public standing here. You see 42% approval rating in our newest poll right here. Start of his second term, when we checked in, it was more mid-40s here. His approval rating, both terms as president, kind of in a narrow range, but this is the lower end for Trump. And then there's that question you mentioned about Trump's own base. So what you're looking at here is among Republicans, you're looking at the intensity of support. These aren't folks who say they just approve of Trump. Do you strongly approve of him? So 52% of Republicans right now say they strongly approve of Trump and his performance as president. That's down. It was 60% at the start of this year. So maybe a bit of a slack there in intensity among his base.
What do we credit that to? I mean, what is the reason why some Republicans are now maybe moving away from the president?
Well, I think interestingly here, too, there's the nature of the Republican Party and how Republicans think of themselves. I thought this was interesting here. We ask Republicans, do you think of yourself more as a supporter of MAGA, the Make America Great movement, really Trump's movement, or the Republican Party itself? And you see they're split on that, 50-50 in terms of how they think of themselves. What it has been earlier in the year and in Trump's first term, much more slanted towards that MAGA side. It was 57-43 MAGA, now 50-50. Is there movement away from the Trump sort of driven vision of Republicanism?
What do we think that is? Is that the America First policies? Is it the economy? Do we know?
Yeah, well, one thing could certainly be the economy, because when you ask voters what's at the top of their mind, it's inflation, it's the cost of living, it's health care costs. You see this sort of across
taxes,
the board right
interest
now.
rates. I mean, this is all the economy right here.
Yeah, these are all asking folks the economic issue that matters the most, but that inflation, just the runaway leader right there. And I think getting outside of the base, too, for Republicans, the threat and the challenge for them is this. You ask, which party do you trust more on rising prices? That's blue. That's Democrats by 6 points right now. Health care costs, that's Democrats by 14 points. So that's a verdict coming in sort of from across the political spectrum.
All right, Steve Kornacki, great to have you here. We thank you for that. Still ahead tonight, look back at the life and legacy of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, and how their own love story helped inspire the ending of one of his most iconic films. Stay with us. Finally tonight, as we remember the legendary director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle, we wanted to take a look back at one of his most beloved films, When Harry Met Sally. As the love story came together in front of the cameras, the Reiners were actually also falling in love behind the scenes in a touching instance of art imitating life.
Sally, this is Harry Burns. Harry, this is Sally Albright.
Nice to meet you.
As Harry and Sally were falling in love, so were Rob Reiner and his future wife, Michelle Singer.
I think I had to have lived a little bit of it in order for me to put it on film.
No, you're probably one of those cheerful people who dots their eyes with little hearts.
In the film, When Harry Met Sally, two strangers are driving together, disagreeing along the way on a post-college move to New York.
Well, I guess we're not going to be friends then.
Guess not.
But through the years, fate brings them back together.
Hi, Harry.
You know, the first time we met, I really didn't like you that much.
I didn't like you.
They become friends.
You're high maintenance, but you think you're low maintenance.
In moments big and small, they fall in love.
Harry, could you just hold me a little longer?
But the iconic love story almost had a different ending.
At the end of the movie, we had it where they run into each other in the street, they talk, and then they walk in opposite directions. The camera pulls up, and cut.
While he was shooting, Reiner met the love of his life as well.
I meet the woman who I've now been married to for 36 years, Michelle, and we fall in love during the making of the movie.
Really?
Yes, and so I changed the ending.
I've been doing a lot of things. The thing is, I love you.
Inspiring one of film's greatest declarations of love.
I came here tonight because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible.
That moment, a testament of their love as family and friends, and fans remember them tonight all over the world. Thanks so much for watching Top Story. I'm Tom Llamas here in New York. Stay right there. More news on the way. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.